to First Take. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, I'm Molly Karen. We got some good NBA, gentlemen. NBA free agency.
Oh, a lot going
on. The coffee and tea's ready. Who's better than us?
Let's go.
You want to do it?
Kawhi Leonard's better than us?
Mm-hmm. The Spurs are red hot right now. Thank you for the segue, Max Kellerman. Taking the Rockets down last night en route to their 8th straight win, the longest active streak in the NBA. Much of that success is courtesy of Kawhi Leonard, who put up 39 points. 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and a huge block. Leonard had 23 30-point games this season. This is the most
special. Obviously, the three. Harden makes threes, Kawhi makes threes. This guy makes threes, that guy makes threes. Steph makes threes. Everybody does that, but I don't know who goes to the other end and does what he does. Not that many people on a consistent basis. An entire game, game after game. Kawhi wanted it badly. He went and took it.
So Kawhi balled, and when Pop speaks, we listen, and he talks about how special he is. Stephen A., where does Kawhi rank in the MVP conversation right now?
Believe it or not, I'm still going to say number 4. I have to say it. Kawhi Leonard is absolutely sensational. He's special. There's no doubt about it in my mind. But I'm still thinking about James Harden. I'm still thinking about Russell Westbrook, even though James Harden, who dropped 39 himself last night in the key pivotal moments, it was Kawhi's show. There's no doubt about that. But it's still James Harden for me. Russell Westbrook a close second. Obviously, LeBron James with Cleveland and what he means to them, number 3. And Kawhi Leonard, number 4. Now, why do I say Kawhi Leonard, number 4?
Yeah, why?
Well, I'm getting ready to break it down to you. Listen and learn. Here's the deal. As great as Kawhi Leonard is, here's what hurts him. And nobody has brought this up. You know what hurts Kawhi Leonard?
What?
Greg Popovich. Because he's established himself as so great as a coach. The impact that he has as a coach has enabled so many other guys to look better.
Like the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick?
So, well, I wouldn't go, again, I'm not going to go that far because Tom Brady is approaching 40 years of age. So he's been around long enough. Yeah. Even though Kawhi Leonard has been with the Spurs his entire career, he's still relatively young. And it was Tim Duncan's team, and it was Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony
And there are
Parker.
people who take credit away from Tom Brady by pointing to Belichick at times.
So all I'm trying to say is that when you consider it from that perspective, in an odd about way, Greg Popovich actually hurts him and the market that he's living in. But I'm saying ignore the market for a second, because Greg Popovich can take guys, get them to play together and look fluid and have their precision elevated at a higher level than normal. When you think about James Harden, you can't help but think about Mike D'Antoni. And even though he had a great career in Phoenix, LA, and New York, respectively, was not necessarily the case. You look at Russell Westbrook, Billy Donovan's there, KD's going. You take that into consideration. And then you look at LeBron because of the greatness of LeBron and how no matter who's coaching him, somehow, some way he manages to be great. And no matter how much respect we have for Tyronn Lue, and I'm a brother that has a whole lot of respect for Tyronn Lue because I knew what he was as an assistant. I talked to him a lot. He's a smart guy, very, very bright, and not only that, assertive. He's a man's man. But at the same time, LeBron has made Mike Brown look good. He's made a lot of coaches look good. And so when you look at it from that perspective, LeBron's LeBron. Kawhi is great as he is, as much as he has elevated himself. Popovich actually takes away from it to some degree because Popovich is so great and has established himself. You got to remember, just the other day, we acknowledged that the San Antonio Spurs had gotten to the playoffs for 20 consecutive years. And by the way,
that's incredible.
For 17 or 18 of those years, when Tim Duncan, do you realize that Tim Duncan only won less than 50 games in the season once in his career? Do you know when that was? During the lockout shortened season when there were only 50 games. And by the way, they went 37-13 that season. That's the only time Tim Duncan has won less than 50 games in his career. So again, we give Tim Duncan credit, but we also have to give credit to the greatness of Greg Popovich, and to a degree, that's what takes away from Kawhi.
You're not wrong. Your logic is sound, but I am more right. Here it is. When you talk about MVP, most people look at eye-popping offensive numbers, so it's a two-horse race. It's between Westbrook and Harden. In reality, that's who's going to get it, one or the other, because of the numbers and because most people don't pay attention to defense. But let me tell you my definition of MVP. Okay. That's the guy I wouldn't trade for anybody. That's the guy who I think gives you the best chance to win a championship. And this year, as it is every single year, his name is LeBron James. And the second player would be Kawhi Leonard. Yes, I'm the same guy who said leave him off the All-Star team because it's all about pizzazz and putting on a show, and that's not Kawhi Leonard. But what can Kawhi Leonard do? Can handle the ball, can bring it up the floor, can shoot at an elite level out to 25. He can do all these things, finish at the rim, whatever you want him to do, pass the ball, whatever you want him to do offensively. And then guard the other team's best perimeter offensive player every single night. Not only at an elite level, at the best level in the NBA, and that counts for a lot. Furthermore, this league has changed a lot, let's face it. The spread pick and roll, the rules changes, all those things over time, D'Antoni's influence, and then Popovich taking it to the next level, the Warriors. But really look at who wins championships. As much as the league has changed, and yes, the primary ball handler who can get penetration and find the open man is going to have sick numbers. Westbrook, Harden, and Steph Curry, right? But who actually wins championships? Same as it's always been. It's wings and bigs. They're who wins championships. Jordan and Pippen, Shaq and Kobe, or Duncan and whomever, right? Then it was, you can keep going forward. LeBron and Wade. Stop me when you get to a classic point guard who's the best player on the team. Not there. Kawhi Leonard with the Spurs. One championship for the Warriors, a loaded team, and it took the injuries to the second and third best players on LeBron's team for them to squeak by them in a tough 6-game series, right? It's still the dominant wing or big, and there aren't a lot of those guys out there right now, who actually wins the championships. The point guards are putting up the numbers. The wings are winning championships. LeBron's the best wing player in the league. KD is up there, but he's hurt right now. Kawhi Leonard is next. He's number 2 in the MVP race, in the real MVP race, in my opinion.
Well, first of all, once again, unnecessarily so, you make things far more complicated than they were. But what else is new, Mr. Ivy Leaguer? Here's the reality of the situation, Max Kellerman. You, of all people, don't get to make that argument. I don't want to hear a damn word from you on this subject. You know why?
Why?
Because Molly is the witness here, the moderator of the show, the lovely Mollywood. For weeks,
Yes.
we have been discussing league MVP.
Yeah.
All right? Was it not this man who repeatedly said LeBron?
Yeah.
I said...
Over and over.
Don't say LeBron.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I am not finished with my point. Russell Westbrook and James Harden was a debate.
Yeah, that was yours.
He constantly brought up LeBron. Tell me one time, Molly, he mentioned Kawhi. One time.
Oh, because
No. I asked you a question. We were talking about Harden and Westbrook at one time. Name one time you mentioned Kawhi Leonard.
Pick for MVP.
Hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We talked about
He means in terms of mentioning him, like even in the conversation.
I'm saying in the conversation, Kawhi was a distant. Oh, right, you're mentioning it now because last night we showed it. Because last night, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. That's exactly what.
Guilty as charged.
There we go.
All right,
so my point is this. Yeah. So last night, the brother shows up and he's big time. By the way, he's had numerous 30-point games this year.
Yep.
He's had numerous 23 of them. Yep. He's had double-doubles all over the place. He's a rated 2-time defensive player of the year. Yep. The dude has been around. But Max Kellerman ignored him for the first 60 games of the year. And because he shows up at home last night against the Houston Rockets, and he shows up particularly at the end of the game, now we want to sit up there and all of a sudden an epiphany hit you, and now he's number 2?
In my defense, I may be slow, but I'm not stupid. I mean, like, it's tough to come off.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that acknowledgement.
You come off a nationally televised, or you come off a televised game where he's playing against one of the front runners for MVP. And look at the end of that game, because Greg Popovich is 100% right. Lots of guys shoot the 3 very well nowadays, including Kawhi Leonard, who's ruthlessly efficient offensively.
Right.
How many guys do what he does on the defense?
Not many.
Stephen A, he blocked the shot, but then it was his second effort after the LaMarcus Aldridge block. He came down with a rebound.
But the conversation is not a discussion about his talent, his skill set, and what it warrants. It's talking about this season.
Right.
And what I'm saying to you is, when you look at this season, think about this for a second. Take Kawhi off.
Okay.
Add Durant, Westbrook, I'm saying just take him off their team. I'm saying to you, we have no doubt that Greg Popovich will find a way. He would find a way for the Spurs to be exactly who they are right now. I'm saying to you, we can't say that about everybody else, but we can say that about Greg Popovich.
That's sleeping on Kawhi. Kawhi definitely benefits from the tutelage under Greg Popovich and playing in that system, no doubt, just as Brady does with Belichick. At a certain point, though, those advantages compound to the player and accrue to their greatness. They redound.
But I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that. But I'm saying to you, you is that when we talk about you being that dude, meaning that MVP, we have to take into account all the ancillary factors.
Okay.
And the fact
Let me
is
ask you this.
you can't ignore, you can't, Max, you did, am I correct? Didn't you do a final take on Popovich a few weeks ago?
Sure.
Oh, so now I forgot about that. So you did a final take.
It makes Kawhi better.
On the greatness of Greg Popovich,
Right.
but we ignore that when it comes into consideration about it?
See, look, it's the same thing with James Harden. Do I think James Harden's benefiting from D'Antoni's system? 100%. But does that mean that James Harden doesn't deserve credit for actually running the system?
You can't compare the two.
Why not?
I'm going to tell you why. Because we saw, even though I respect, D'Antoni's my coach of the year.
Yep.
But even though that's the reality, we saw D'Antoni in LA and in New York.
He didn't have a willing point. He needs a willing point guard.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not where I'm going.
Yeah, Jeremy Lin is a superstar for a minute.
That's not where I'm going. What I'm saying to you is we saw D'Antoni. Yes, his system is nice, but James Harden highlights what he needs, not what James Harden needed. James Harden was a superstar before. Hold on. Was James Harden a superstar
is Harden
before?
having the best season of his career?
Yes.
Okay.
But wait a minute. That's because Lou Williams is there. Eric Gordon
Steve
is
Nash
balling. Trevor Reese is Gordon.
Steve Nash was a bad little dude before he ever linked up with D'Antoni. He was bad in Dallas. He was a bad little dude. When he got with D'Antoni, he took it to another level. Same thing with Harden.
But again, I am not saying that D'Antoni's system isn't working. Is not doing a good job.
Okay.
I'm saying it's not comparable to Pop. It's not comparable to Pop.
Kawhi never played for anyone else.
Because Greg Popovich continues to adjust to the talent that he has.
But Kawhi can't be blamed for that. He's only played for one coach.
He's not being blamed.
He only played for one coach.
He's a reigning two-time defensive player of the year.
Evaluate how good he is.
He's a reigning two-time defensive player of the year.
And
who's a league-leading MVP. Who's one of the league leaders for league MVP.
Oh, I'm glad you agree.
That's not disrespecting. I said he's 4.
No, I'm saying he's 2. And by the way, just to fill in the idea.
No. You're saying he's 2.
Yeah.
Now,
right.
not for the last 2 months. Oh, no, we never heard it from your mouth.
Here's about it now. One last thing about that wings and big player, because usually I'll take the best wing in the league on my team. You could have whoever else you want, because that's the guy who wins championships. Even when Golden State won the chip. Who won the MVP of the finals on Golden State? Was it their point guard? No, it was Iguodala. It was their best, most effective wing. And playing defense on the other most effective wing, LeBron James. And when the Spurs won recently, who won the MVP? Kawhi Leonard. The best wing in reality when you talk about value, winning championships. It's LeBron, Kawhi. They give you the best chance.
Okay.
Fired up out of the gate. I love it.
But go ahead.
All right, you brought up final takes. You don't want to miss Stephen A's today because he's going to address Kawhi's comparison to Michael Jordan. But before that, we want to hear from you guys. Is it fair to compare Kawhi to his airness? Go on Twitter now and vote. Those results coming up.
We're bringing that up on Final Take, not because of me, but because Alvin Gentry, coach for the New Orleans Pelicans, compared Kawhi to Michael Jordan.
So it's stemming from that.